CIA Reading Room, Freedom of Information Act. Stop Rockefeller's Nazi doctors. We possess unimpeachable evidence that the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency is carrying out a worldwide operation for the subversion and military takeover of the United States and Europe. The CIA's Operation Orpheus involves wide-scale torture, brainwashing, and assassination, with an immediate coup in Britain and approximate 1974 takeover of the USA on the agenda. Hard evidence of this plot has been developed in the deprogramming of Christopher White, a leading member of the European Labour Committee, who was tortured and brainwashed by the CIA and the British government in London. White was sent by the CIA to the U.S. in December on programmed assassination and other missions against the National Caucus of Labor Committees, to join with at least 3 other victims of sadistic CIA torture and brainwashing already in the U.S. The attack against the labor committees was a mere pawn in a much wider operation, but the pawn bit. We have proof of vast, inhuman, illegal CIA operations of brainwashing and torture under the cover of behavior modification being carried out in prison, college campuses, hospitals, and elsewhere throughout the U.S. and worldwide. The CIA is securing for employers a docile, zombie-like labor force, a population willing to accept a fascistic police regime without a fight. The funding of CIA torture and brainwashing is accomplished through the Law Enforcement Assistance Agency, LEAA, and other CIA front groups. The LEAA is also coordinating a systematic takeover of local police departments across the country and has concrete plans for a military coup in this country. The CIA's brainwashing repertoire includes every device known to Hitler's medical science. Is that what that says? Science? Plus many advances and programs on a scale Hitler never dared. Psychosurgery, chemotherapy, hypnosis, electroshock, and other tortures under the rubric of eversion therapy are being carried out on a vast and horrible scale in the U.S. These practices are developed with the aid of quack fascist psychology departments on college campuses, where the psychology of the rat is explicitly equated with the mind of man. They have nothing whatsoever in common with science. Those brainwashing operations and all such behavior modification practices constitute crimes against humanity under the Nuremberg laws. We are going to end brainwashing in the United States and Europe. We are going to close all behavior psychology departments on college campuses. Those responsible for torture and brainwashing are going to be tried and dealt with. under Nuremberg. I think that's what it says. Let me go on here. Organizing meetings, Operation Nuremberg, and Operation Mop-Up Woodcook. Is that what that says? Okay, let's see. The future of the human race is at stake. We are launching this morning our own Operation Nuremberg to expose and begin the destruction of CIA brainwashing and behavior modification in the United States. Well, we know that's still going on. We have chosen 3 centers of CIA operations as our first target in this campaign. The activities of one Nathan S. Klein, operating out of Columbia University in New York. The Boston, Massachusetts CIA brainwashing operatives centered in Harvard University. In Massachusetts, General Hospital. And the CIA Axis in Temple University in Philadelphia. Summary details in these criminal operations are given below. The criminals involved must be brought to justice. These operations must be shut down. We are drawing the line. Humanity or the destruction of humanity. You must choose. Well, that's what we're going through right now, people. Wake up. Targets of Operation Nuremberg. Nathan S. Klein, one of the CIA's highest medical scientists. His assignment at the College of Physicians and Surgeons, Columbia Presbyterian Hospital, and possibly at Cornell University, is to train brainwashing operatives for thought control projects throughout the world. For more than 2 decades, a follower and close associate to CIA founder Dr. John Reese, Klein has participated in various CIA counterinsurgency operations in Liberia, Nepal, Tanzania, Pakistan, Sarawak, Jamaica, Kuwait, Israel, Yugoslavia, and the USSR. Klein is the president of the International Committee Against Mental Illness, funded by the federal drug, well, wouldn't you know that? Funded by the federal drug companies and the Federal National Institute of Mental Health. ICAM, what does that say? ICAM runs the only psychiatric clinics in Iran and Indonesia dispensing antidepressant drugs, well, okay, to the natives for the duration of their lives. ICAM is now establishing treatment facilities in Colombia, Ethiopia, Haiti, Nigeria, Pakistan, Peru, and the Sudan. Wait a minute. And the Sudan. In 1959, dictator, what's his name here? I can't read. Papa Doc Duvalier awarded Klein Haiti's highest civilian medal for brainwashing Haitians with drugs and voodoo. Klein openly remarked on the lack of witch doctors in the U.S. ICAM organizes politically for the use of drugged, mentally ill persons as leave laborers in industry. Hang on a minute. The Mark William H. Sweet, Frank Irvin, co-authors of a 1967 AMA Journal letter saying that anyone who participated in the Detroit ghetto riot suffered from some combination of brain damage, genetic disorder, or hormone trouble, and should have had the appropriate parts of his brain cut out. In 1970, they formed a paper organization, the Neuro Research Center. They were funded by the LEAA and the NIMH through intervention of Sweet's personal friend Elliot Richardson. The purpose of the funding was experimentation on prison inmates to determine the role of the brain damage in criminal behavior. Mark is now a consulting neurosurgeon for the Air Force, head of neurosurgery at Boston City College, on call at Massachusetts Penal Hospital, and is also at Harvard Medical School. Irvin has gone semi-underground at UCLA in California after his state-funded Center for the Prevention of Violence failed to get off the ground in 1971 due to public protest. From 1964 to 1972, he was director at a lab for psychological research at Massachusetts General. B.F. Skinner, leading light of fascist behaviorism in the U.S. In 1953, he began work at Harvard with a Navy grant to develop the clinical side of behaviorism. Skinner is the CIA's most celebrated research and development man. Joseph Wolpe, brainwashing specialist in aversion behavior modification, now at Temple University. Wolpe uses hypnosis, electric shock, drug-induced nausea, and for the purpose of acute terror, a drug which stops the victim's breathing and makes him think death is at hand. Wolpe trains foreign students in behavior modification. An internationally known Pavlovian he also intends to help launch a massive behavior mod expansion at the University of Pennsylvania. Other targets include Elliot M. Slater, Boston; H. Thomas Ballantine, Boston; Edgar H. Schein, MIT, CIA Center for International Studies; Arnold A. Lazarus, Philadelphia; Henry T. Weiss, Philadelphia. Well, looks like they haven't stopped this problem. Isn't that right, people? Yeah. What a world. What a world. Okay, hold the line. We're going to get this done. We're going to stop this madness. Okay, do your research. Bye.